My name is Chris Cudney. This is my benchmark presentation on organizational design, structure, and change. My company that I'll be doing is called Balboa Capital. Now, our essential organizational issue has to do with people management. Now, people management is a start-to-finish process of acquiring and retaining very top-level talent. The part in people management that we are most concerned with and that we think is the most flawed is with employee training. We believe that this has caused an immense lack of employee retention. The reason for this is that employees feel stagnation and feel stuck in their current positions with no upward mobility. And because of this, we have seen in many branches a 100% turnover rate. Now, the ramifications of this issue. The company is constantly having to spend money on retaining new talent, and when they do not keep that talent around, they have a very low return on investment. So there's no point in spending that money on getting new people if you're not going to keep them around. And then also we lose a lot of high quality talent, so a lot of our workforce has been lost, and we can see that in the long term us losing our market share because our competitors can now take on that high quality talent and then beat us out of the market. For our organizational structure, we have a narrow span of control. In each branch, we have one single manager per branch. Beneath that branch manager is a team manager. Beneath that team manager is a team leader. And then under that team leader are the entry-level salespeople. So there are many steps in which to get to top-level management. We have a generalized division of labor. Pretty much all base-level employees are general salespeople. All salespeople in the organization sell all of the products, and then all of the different business units and industries that we sell to. The lack of employee base leads to a very generalization of our business units. Now, we are a very centralized organization. All requests for change must be sent to someone higher up at corporate. Team leaders or branch managers have no say in any permanent change for their branch. And there's very low formalization as well. In the job description, there's little discretion as to the decision making or business processes. Very few specific practices in the attainment of business. The organizational culture is based on learning on the job and adapting to new changes and kind of figuring everything out, for having employees figure everything out for themselves. Now, because of these factors, our organizational design is a hierarchy. There are a couple positives and a couple negatives to having a hierarchy. The positives is that it is an archaic structure. It is a bit older and established. It's very easy to understand for people, and employees will always know where they stand at in the company. The negatives is that it is typically low contact up the ladder, so there's a low level of access to leaders, slow movement of information because of a lot of movements and degrees, and then difficult to enact organizational change because it is so established. Now, the organizational culture. In our company, we have a difference in espoused and enacted values. The espoused values in the company include hard work and positivity, even in minor defeat. And the enacted values from most entry-level employees include sluggishness due to a lack of motivation and negativity due to setbacks. Also, in our culture, there's a lack of a generalized mission statement, so employees do not have a generalized mission that they can bond and latch onto. And then the artifact reward system is lacking. For very high level employees, there are active rewards that they can achieve, but for lower level employees, there are no incremental rewards for them to strive for in the short term. Organizational effectiveness. Because of all these factors of our organization, I believe that hierarchy is detrimental to our issue because there is a lack of that communication upwards and access to that upward knowledge. Our high turnover rate is very detrimental, and the culture of having people leave often is very detrimental to the morale of employees. Our reward system is in turn ineffective for low level employees. It only applies to higher level. And then our high turnover rate is becoming increasingly expensive for our company. Now, our representation of conscious capitalism is lacking in all four tenets of conscious capitalism. As I said before, our higher purpose, we don't really have a higher purpose besides to make money. There is no general idea for leaders to align their employees with. Our stakeholder integration, employees do not receive much training, and they don't feel like they're being treated as a constructive part of the business. Our conscious leadership, while leaders have a strong understanding of systems intelligence, they do not have a good understanding of emotional intelligence, due strong part to lack of training. And then conscious culture, there's very little transparency up the ladder, and there's very little egalitarianism between management and lower levels. So many times when systems and process would change, lower levels employees do not necessarily know why that is happening. So our plan of improvements. First step is to create a sense of urgency. We will establish with everyone in the company or with our upper level employees that we are losing our share of the market while other companies are quickly grabbing up our talent. We would build a guiding coalition. We will develop a cross-functional team of employees that lead an effort of improving our people management. We'll form a strategic vision and initiatives. We will lead culture change based on improving employee satisfaction and the retention of employees in the workplace. We will enlist a volunteer army. We'll find willing employees to interview and find their perspectives about what is lacking in the company. Remove or enable action by removing barriers. Remove cultural barriers of a sink or swim culture. Move to ensure that all employees that we hire have the tools to be successful. We will generate short-term incentive wins. Give incentives to employees that may not have been at the company as long, and give them equal incentives to succeed as well. We will sustain acceleration. We will start small but keep implementing policies as we go. And utilize managerial training to improve culture and decrease employee turnover. And then finally, we will institute a change. We'll show all employees that their loyalty in the company is well worth it and lead them to create a culture for newer employees that shows that it is a great company to be at. Now, this is Kotter's model, and some authors agree with Kotter's model, saying that that it does not work for all organizations, especially non-typical organizations, and I believe that this model is incredibly effective for our organization. Now, implementational changes or challenges that might happen. Managers might revert to an old style of leadership. Employee habits, employees might not want to spend their time in training if they're used to doing something else. Managerial habits, managers might not want to spend their time in training as well. Allocation of resources, more resources will be allocated towards employee training that might be taken from somewhere else. And then also employee fears. Employees might fear that their paycheck might be taken, or because they're not doing the same work, their job will change. Now, managing challenges. I think our first step in managing challenges is to start small and start with only incremental changes, not to worry and scare all the employees. We have to secure the support of top-level management, have management communicate our goals and ensure all the employees that there will not be any detrimental changes happening to them. We have to empower employees, have to let employees openly suggest change so that they feel like their voices are represented. And then we have to have managers communicate openly. Managers need to give an explanation of why the changes are happening and explain how it will affect each individual person. And then we will need to have a reward system for both employees and managers. Give them incremental rewards to show them that their working through change has been a benefit to the company and they made it worth it. Now, experts do agree that involving senior leadership in the process is one of the best ways to provide successful change. Now, subsystem realignment. The two subsystems that we're going to have to realign are human resources and sales. Human resources, we will have to reallocate a lot of their time towards establishing a learning and training system and getting every person onboarded onto that. And then sales, they will have a reallocation of time away from their normal activities and more moved to a training system. And these systems, in order to function, will have to have constant insight from executive levels, and they will have to have, the executives will have to also be receiving constant feedback so they know their efforts are well worth it. So our lessons learned, we learned that a sink or swim workplace is ineffective, especially with a younger employee base. Higher employee turnover decreases employee morale, and then employee turnover can be decreased by investing in employees and showing them that they are part of the company. Strategies to avoid. Things we want to avoid is not developing and communicating a plan, not asking for feedback, ignoring resistance to change, not participating in change, and enacting all big changes at once and not making it incremental. And then finally, our strategies to adopt. First, we want to adopt vigilant leadership. We want to pay attention to employee behavior and determine KPIs. And then always, as leadership, we want to be receptive to criticism, make training part of the job, and then finally we want to listen to our employees, make our employees our stakeholders, and make sure they're well integrated within our company.